and we're going to bring these matches right to you.
Thank you very much, Sky. This is super exciting. I'm really excited to be casting with you again because it's been quite a while now. Getting into this match, this is actually a rematch of the Pro League, what we saw just last week in Playday number 1, Outlaws versus Atheltico, and Atheltico took both of the maps, both Oregon and Bank. We're starting on border though, so it's a bit of fresh turf, should be a little bit of a fresh face, and maybe Outlaws have an opportunity for some revenge.
That's certainly what I would love to see, as if I recall correctly, they did put up a bit of a fight, didn't they?
Absolutely. It was 4-6 on Oregon and then 3-6 on Bank. So Outlaws, being the team that got relegated into the Challenger League and then clawed their way up back into the Pro League, this is a very strong showing for them coming up against what was last season's Seed 3 out of the Pro League.
Absolutely. We can see here the operator bands going off. Is this anything, surprising for you, Dev? We've got a Buck banned by, I believe that would be, I want to say, Outlaws banning the Buck, and then Glaz banned by Atheltico.
Orange team would have banned the Buck. Didn't quite manage to see which one Orange is, but no. I mean, Buck, I guess you could say he's come out of the meta quite a bit, especially on border. So a little bit surprising, but I suppose Buck here, he is quite powerful. Obviously, there's a lot of vertical play. It's just that more recently, not so many teams have been using it. They've been perhaps playing as a fear instead. But if you're not going to use a Buck and you think the other team may as well ban it. Whereas the Glaz has been a very popular ban in recent times. Ever since the ban phase was introduced, Glaz being one of the most banned operators.
Vigil also being banned here. That's something that it hasn't been, I guess, as prevalently banned as Glaz, but a lot of teams do like to ban it just to sort of get that headache out of the way.
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of teams don't want to worry about the extra trouble that you can have clearing roamers. They just want to get it nice out of the way quickly. And a lot of it comes down to, if you don't think your team's going to use it, there's no point putting it into the hands of your opponents.
Indeed, we can see here Outlaws will be starting off on the defense, and obviously with this new format, if you guys aren't aware, both teams play 5 rounds in a row, and then after that they will trade. So a little bit like CSGO, except we don't have 15 rounds. It's a little bit more compact, but it's still a very nice change to see.
Oh yeah, every round is all more important because obviously we've got these really long rounds and you get to make adaptations between your rounds instantly, because if you lose a defense, you go straight back to that bomb site, you try it again, you make some changes. And it's very similar for the attacks as well. So it's very interesting. We also have this new 6th pick phase. What this means is that we have a new reveal phase after both teams pick operators, and that means that the enemy team is revealed the entire 5-player loadouts that their opponents have chosen, and then both teams get an opportunity to switch out one operator to hide it from the enemies. And we've seen some interesting strategies, some interesting mind games play into this. This time it's going to be Todd switching on to the Dockerby.
Yeah, absolutely. Dockerby here, honestly, Dockerby's seen a little bit more play than I would have expected. Obviously, it's nothing crazy like, your hard breaches or anything like that. But a lot of people, especially, I think one of the main uses is just to force people off of those cameras, even if just for a second.
Yes, absolutely. And also that sound cue when you're rushing into a site, especially in conjunction with the Zephyr charges, which tend to deafen the enemy players. If they're deafened and you have an extra sound cue on knowing where the enemies are, it really helps with those last-minute rush plans. It's something that we've seen, especially Atheltico, be really fond of. I mean, if we look at this, we've got all this execute potential. We've got Dockerby, Zephyr, and Line all in conjunction, and on top of that, they have 3 speeds, Ash and Hibana, to really get the work done. So they've got a really nice execute lineup right here.
I guess let's get into the nitty-gritty here, if you will, Dev. Who are you favouring? And already off the bat, we're trying to get predictions here, and Derp has been down through the wall by actually a newcomer here by Outlaws, TXNZ.
A very good start for Outlaws. I would have said that they were the unfavoured team, having Atheltico be, such a strong track record. But yeah, good start for them. TX getting the first injure onto Derper. I mean, if he had managed to capitalize on that, that'd be the Lion down so early. And, well, even though it wasn't a kill, it has delayed a lot of time for Atheltico. Only now 40 seconds, 50 seconds into the round, droning out CCTV. And on top of that, Derper has lost quite a few points of HP.
It's got to play into the mind games as well. They've got to be thinking, where has that Valkyrie ran to? And at the moment, they don't seem to really be caring too heavily about it. As for the roam clear, it does look like Ethan's going to be slowly clearing it from the western side of the map. But we've got TX all the way on the other side of the map, and now he's going to start to very slowly execute his roam. But I'm sure we'll be seeing that impact, hopefully in a positive way, or at least for Outlaws, hopefully in a positive way, in the next few minutes.
And that line charge is going to give Atheltico intel on the players who are defaulting away from that armory wall, giving Muesli no chance to bandit trick. He's also lost a lot of HP. That'd be from Ethan, the newest addition to the Atheltico roster, who's playing below using that vertical pressure that we see using those ash charges. Now, TX is in a position to potentially get a flank onto Ethan if he doesn't be careful about covering his tracks.
See here, Emo, and I was actually watching his clips from EG and Pug Night like just yesterday, and he is absolutely insane, the stuff he manages to pull off. It's quite crazy.
Recall doesn't matter for Emarin. It's all about those, just clicking on the heads. It's quite insane just watching the way he plays through his eyes. It's really an eye-opener. Now, Ethan's looking to try and get his way through beepers, and he does manage to take out one. He gets instantly refragged, however, by Joker on the mirror. The EE1D does expire, but Atheltico have made their way inside. Silex gets the initial entry onto Joker and then begins to plant the diffuser. 2 enemies left for Atheltico to deal with, and a C4 from below I don't believe is going to net any kills. Now it's a retake for Casper, TX, and Bundy. TX playing below, trying to find angles, but just not finding anything so far. Bundy gets Emo. Silex with a quick reply onto Casper. TX is going for a flank into CCTV. The Claymore has been taken out. A drone, they know exactly where he is. Bundy just contesting these angles with the ACOG, but Atheltico are playing so passive at the moment. Half the diffuser has elapsed, and they're just playing completely safe. Bundy is no doubt going to walk directly into a crossfire. The SMG-12 from Todd finds one. TX does manage to get an injure, but no. Silex ties it all out for the round, and that's 1 point over to Atheltico.
Atheltico starting off with a bang, as you sort of predicted very quickly there, as we had some very early action from TX. But it's great to see that they're going to have this momentum sort of going into the game. I was thinking maybe Outlaws, they got pretty close to last time. Surely this is the time where they sort of have to, I guess come back with a bang, learn from their mistakes, and that's certainly still a possibility as we're only very early into this matchup, but it's not looking good so far.
No, not too good. But, that's only one round, and as I mentioned before, Outlaws now having lost a defense, they have the opportunity to go and retry that defense however many times it takes in order to get it right.
Indeed, and that's exactly what they're going to be attempting to do here. They've re-picked that side up, as we talked about before the new format. Todd on the Dokkaebi once again, so seems to be a pretty, staple part of Atheltico's strategy here.
And it has been for quite some time as well, and they're really fleshing it out. I really liked what we saw from Atheltico. It was very organized. Ethan goes below and helps get rid of the bandit trick. Todd looks like he might be switching off the Dokkaebi. Quite sure if that's intentional, not... Yeah, he is going to be grabbing the Twitch, so nice, interesting, mixing things up a little bit, obviously flexing into a Twitch, something that can help you with that element of surprise. The mirror player on the enemy team will not be as likely to be watching for those Twitch drones, and as such, that Twitch might be able to cop 1 or 2 mirrors, which would be very beneficial to the attacking side.
Indeed, already Todd here doesn't seem to want to... Oh, he's probably just going to be setting his drone up somewhere inside of the building. Hopefully CCTV, get that early intel. He doesn't want to be looking to pop those mirrors just yet, as there is a good chance they have not yet been placed by a Joker. And I want to talk a little bit more about about TX. We were talking about this yesterday, Devon. I remember you asking me the very question, who is TXNZ? As you happen to notice he's got the Outlaw tags on, and I don't really... I have very vivid memories of him, not necessarily playing for Outlaws, but just playing in the comp scene in general. But now here he is playing for Outlaws.
Yeah, I'd love to have some more insight for you, but I was just looking through my friends list on Uplay, and I noticed, txnz.olw with the Outlaws image and everything, and I was thinking to myself, well, I can't remember him playing for Outlaws. In fact, I don't really remember him at all. And so, yeah, a nice little surprise, but yeah, good on TX for making it to the roster. In fact, I believe it's Sirom who's the one who I have seen playing for Outlaws recently that is missing from the roster. I'm not sure whether TX is a sub, because last I knew Suram was a captain, but it's entirely possible that perhaps Suram is going for more of a coach role. Anything's really possible, and I don't quite have all the details. I'm going to have to quiz the Outlaws players on this afterwards, because obviously that's going to play into how they perform during the Pro League.
Indeed, I think I was, again, don't take me on this, but I was quickly scrolling on Twitter before the broadcast starts, and I think that TX is subbing in for Suram, but I'm pretty sure Suram's just not available.
Ooh.
He popped the mirror there.
I have to check.
Very nice shot.
Wow. Great job from Todd to get that mirror, and wow, also finding the headshot onto Bundy. Was that all the way inside of Armory, right next to that tiny half-wall? That's so unfortunate for the player. But Casper, what? 3 on the run-out from East Stairs? Are you kidding me? Silex, Emo, and Todd, the triple threat. And that's so much utility off the board, and just the players. And, well, Athletico dealt 1 blow, and Casper dealt 3 back.
That is absolutely brutal for Casper. It's now up to the newcomers of Athletico, if you will, Ethan and Derpe, to try and put something on the board. Derpe's been in the squad for a while. Nevertheless, I'd still call him a bit of a newcomer, wouldn't you, Dev? In a way.
I suppose. I mean, he didn't play in the first season of Pro League with them, but he's been joining them ever since, I guess, that Pro League season did finish. So, I mean, him and Emo Rin being those additions to the roster, but Ethan definitely the new one. Nonetheless, 50 seconds, Derpe and Ethan just using up these flashbang utility. Still 2 E1Ds to play with, but at the moment, they're mostly got to be worried about dealing with this one player inside Archives, and TX with that Smoke Babes is going to delay it even more, but Muesli's the one who finds 1 kill. Ethan's just going to jump on in there, but no, an immense crossfire he has to contest with, and TX is going to find that frag and end the round for Outlaws.
Outlaws coming back with a bang here. Very nice stuff from them, already putting the pressure to Athletico with that undisputed, beautiful run out from Casper. That was amazing.
Yeah, let's do a little bit of a breakdown analysis of what happened in that round. Athletico started forming up around their officers push. They took control of the balcony. Todd even managed to pop 1 mirror and get a nice shot on the rappel, taking out the Echo. That's one of the most, the strongest utility that the defenders have on the board. And then what happened? Oh, Casper just jumped out and killed 3 players. And that was the end of the round.
Why not, Dev? Why not?
That's all that happens, Sky. I mean, it's something that we don't often see really as a viable strategy at this level of play. Just run out and kill them all. But Casper must... Well, unfortunately, we didn't manage to catch it on the screen, but must have been such a well thought out play. You know, it's always a calculated risk, and that particular time it paid off for Casper, and it meant the difference for that round. If he'd managed to find 1 kill, 2 kills maybe, and then get traded, it would have been something. But no, he got 3 kills, and no one managed to trade him off.
Insane from him. You could see after that he didn't even want to go for the last 2. He was just sort of chilling out. He was happy with what he had done.
Oh yeah. And now, as we've had Outlaws win a successful Armory and Archives defense, they're going to be heading on downstairs to the vents and workshop.
So they are obviously going to be swapping it up a little bit here, just because they have now been banned out of that site for the next few rounds, as they've now won it. We see here TX on the mirror. Mirrors is someone you don't always see on this site. You do sometimes, but not always.
Yeah, well, I mean, Mirror is very, very strong on border. There are lots of points where you can, place them, particularly upstairs. But no, we're seeing I would call this the Outlaws hold. Now, if you haven't casted Outlaws recently, you might not be familiar with this, but I mean, I've seen them play this a few times, so this looks very typical to me. What they do is they like to turn Passport, that's this room right here, into a nice kill hole with lots of openings so that they can have lots of eyes and crossfires into the open area from where they place 1 mirror inside of Customs. They place their second mirror inside of the hallway facing into Tellers. And it's, primarily set up to defend from an east side push. And here is the second mirror I mentioned inside of Customs. These castle barricades also help to protect primarily Muesli, who's playing on that mirror facing into Tellers. And, well, that's that, really. It's a nice little hold, but it does spread your resources very, very thin for Outlaws. And, well, if the attackers do push in through detention, it can be very devastating to that hold, just hitting them where they're not coming from behind. Nonetheless, Athletico are going for a fairly more typical upstairs take, with Todd just taking out some of those cameras. Great to deny a lot of intel so very early so that the defenders have no idea where you're coming from. And, well, it looks like Athletico are also going to be taking control of CCTV, opening up this hatch, and well, that's one of the most effective counters to that mirror inside of Customs. So, I feel like Athletico have this counted fairly easily.
Indeed, they don't seem to be worrying too much about these moves just yet, and I'm sure in a perfect world they'll either be able to pop them or just, come from the western side of the map. As you said, this is a very east-centric hold that they are currently pulling off, and I guess if Athletico see this coming, and as you said, this is sort of their staple hold, then you can see already Todd here. Moosley doesn't silk, he seems to be looking in this general direction now. We'll see what happens. Todd's surely going to see the tip of his head there. You can see him glitching through, but Ethan will find him from above. It doesn't matter. And Todd will now have control of customs, or at least should be able to get control of it very soon. Ethan will jump in anyway. Bundy going to cop him a few shots on the way down. Nice stuff from him.
Oh wow, a great shot from Bundy onto Ethan. That nice pre-fire. That's a sledge off the board. That very, very useful utility for taking down castle barricades in that big sledgehammer. Oh, it's not going to be utilized anymore, so very unfortunate for Ethan, but a great shot from Bundy, trying to deal just as much damage as his team are receiving. Now, Athletico, they've started to pick apart this push, and can Bundy get another really nice shot? No, Todd's going to be the one to find that one, and Bundy getting a little bit too overzealous, gets punished, leaving just 3 Outlaws players to defend the objective, and with that, they're also going to have to be answering the Dockerby calls from that logic bomb. Trying to get some intel on the side. Athletico don't really have a lot because of those mute jammers, but nonetheless, they've got the numbers advantage, and they will likely be face-checking and refragging if they can't get the intel that's required.
You can see their flashbangs being chucked in. The line will go off here. Silex is going to be the diffuser, but 2 quick kills from ANZ, and Casper will limit it out here. Emo manages to find one. Can he get the second? Emo will find the second, possibly the third. He does. Beautiful kills from Emo as he finds 3 quick successive headshots.
And look at that. He steps in the goo mine. He says, no, I just need to hold this angle for my teammates so they can get the plant down. And they just walk straight into his crossfire. Nice 2 quick headshots. Then turns around, knows exactly where the last one's coming from, and pre-fires that last kill. Fantastic job from Emo Rin, tying up that round for Athletico. Now with a 2-1 lead, Outlaws will have to retake that vents room and workshop site one more time before they head up to Armory, because with the new rules of these competitive settings, you have to have you have to play 2 rounds off of a site. You have just 1 in order to return back to that site. And so, well, they're not going to customs or tellers. They're going to be trying out ventilation one more time.
So there was just pure showing of skill from Emo Rin. Just the ability, just as you said, stick that goo mine out, continue to hold that angle, and then just pre-fire the next angle. It's absolutely insane for him. And again, we haven't really touched too much on what this is all about today. This is to get to the Paris finals, or the APAC finals in Sydney.
Yeah, and with that, I should actually mention, I apologize, we have some incorrect graphics. It does say go for visuals, so we'll get that fixed very shortly, and yeah, I do apologize for that. But yeah, this is the Paris... Yeah, it's all me. This is the Paris qualifiers stage 2, and that means, well, there's only one team from APAC which is going to get a spot through these qualifiers at those Paris, the Paris major events in Paris. So the way that we find that is we had an open qualifier set, and well, TBD was the team to come out on top of that within ANZ, and then TBD faces all of the Pro League teams, and well, the number 1 Pro League team out of this best of 3 single elimination cup today will be going to a finals event where they will be playing against the other APAC teams, 1 from each region, so 1 from Southeast Asia, 1 from Korea, 1 from Japan, and the winner of that event will then get to go to the Paris Major.
Indeed, and the Paris Major is what it's all about. Everyone wants to get there. So far we've got Nora Rango and Fnatic already confirmed to be representing us over here at APAC. Over there we're looking to add 1 more team to that list, and that's what this is all about.
Yeah, and getting into the round, we've got pretty much the exact same hold coming out from the defenders. The Maestro is coming out, though. I don't believe we had a Maestro in the previous round, but nonetheless, Joker's going to whip that out. I actually didn't manage to see whether... We didn't really see Joker make any use of it if he was playing the Maestro, but no, he's going to be primarily placing his Evil Eyes inside of ventilations, both of them in fact, and well, primarily for plant denial, also a lot of intel gathering, and I'm a little bit surprised he's not placing any, upstairs, maybe in customs, but anyhow, Athletico have proved that they know exactly how to deal with this, and well, Derper just standing on the desks inside of security to prevent himself from getting C4'd. Well, Athletico are starting their push down once again, how they did last time.
Indeed, it seems to be more of the same here for Ath. We can see Muesli tempting to pull that C4 out, and he's going to do just that. It shouldn't find anyone, however, luckily for Athletico. But they're now going to be completely aware that this is more of the same from Outlaws, and they should know how to counter it very well. And you can see here the hatch has been open. That forces Casper and Muesli to play more defensive positions here, but it doesn't matter. Casper will find Todd. Beautiful stuff from him there.
And look at that, the drone just not coming through at the right time. Todd getting a little bit overexcited and ying off the board. There's quite a lot of utility on those Candelas. And once again, these mute jammers proving to be a bit of a frustration for Athletico as Silex attempts to re-drone Casper. Silex will finally drone out Casper, but that's another drone off the board. So much of the information gathering for Athletico is down. And yes, while you might say that they could easily trap Casper there inside of the detention, they also have to move on to the site in the next minute, and if they spend all their time just hunting these roamers who are off-site, they're going to get seriously punished, and they're already a man down.
Indeed, it's quite surprising to me that this seems to be working out this time round. Last time it was a very dominant fashion from Athletico, but this time doesn't seem to be as successful, and nothing's really changed here for Outlaws. Ethan will get the trade, however, that's going to even it out to 4-4. Silex just managing to pressure Casper so heavily here. He manages to sit inside of detention. Oh, I thought the Habana pellets had gone off, but it's actually muted there. Luckily for Casper, Emo will find another one, proving how dominant he really is. Joker again getting the trade. It's a 3v3 here with 20 seconds on the clock. This does not look good here for either of these teams, but Casper manages to find one. Silex finds one each as well. This has just been trade for trade. Emo will find Joker. It's all up to TX here. How has this gotten into this situation? If we're going off what the rest of this round's been, I'd expect here for TX to get a trade, but he's just being absolutely pummeled here by Emo Rin, and he'll get taken down. What was that round, Dev?
It was Athletico not really having an effective counter, despite them knowing exactly what was happening. They just could not get control of that customs area. And then, well, later and later into the round it came, and then the trades started coming up back and forth. Eventually it was a 2 versus 2, and then Imorin just did his thing. Very unfortunate timing for, I believe it was it Joker who was playing inside of bathroom? Nonetheless, no, Imorin managed to find him, and then, well, the last one remaining did not have any way to deny that plant, and Emo Rin just did what Emo does and cleans up. Now, as we've had 2 off-site defenses for Outlaws, they can return back to Armory Lockers and Archives.
This is where they've sort of got to rely on. They have to win this out here, because if they let Athletico get to that 4-1 scoreline, it gets extremely scary for them. I'd say at that stage, that's when that 4-1 is when you can't really be dropping rounds anymore. You need to get those successive rounds.
Absolutely. Now, one thing to mention is that whereas in the Pro League season we have a best of 10 that is first to 6, with no overtime, in this Paris qualifiers, because we have to decide a winner, we will be having overtime, but it will be limited to a best of 3. So that means that it's first to 6 by default, and then if we get to a 5-5, it's first to 7. No win by 2, infinite overtime or anything like that. Unfortunately, it's not practical to have in an online tournament such as this where we're pressed for time, but it means that this could be a very, very close match. Like, we still have quite a few rounds. Athletico have to get 3 more in order to win, but if Outlaws push them tooth and nail, then this could go all the way to that 13th round.
Really could, and that OT is again a big factor. Managing to, I guess, tie it up and still have that chance to win is really, really, really crazy. And even though ties sometimes I like for some teams count as a win, I was watching all the YouTube videos, but I was watching Raven's highlight video, and you could just see the guys after they managed to to draw against Fnatic on Oregon in that 5-5 very clinching match. They were just so hyped. It was absolutely crazy.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, sometimes there's such a skill disparity or an expected disparity between teams that even a draw is acceptable. But in this case, there's no draws. This is, this is take no prisoners. Athletico want that spot in Paris. They want that spot at the final, the APAC finals, and well, Outlaws want that too. I mean, Athletico, I feel like there's a story here that I really have to emphasize. Athletico have just missed out on getting to any APAC finals event for a very long time. They actually won the very first ANZ Invitational LAN events against Corvidae, who they were known as at the time. But ever since then, Athletico have had a lot of trouble breaking into that top two. It's always been, Mindfreak, Fnatic first, and then Corvidae, aka Usonic Darksided, second. Athletico always struggling to find that spot right up the top. They've always come third place, and I feel like there's a point where they just got to get so determined that they need this, and I feel like Athletico don't want that to get taken away by Outlaws.
Indeed, I was just about to mention that they've missed out on so many LAN such final events. I really hope that today is their time to at least make that the finals in Sydney. But time will tell. They've got a lot of tough competition ahead of them. They're gonna have to really prove their worth here.
And it looks like we've got a fairly, I would say staple Athletico kind of push coming out here. Oh, I love that Maestro. So this is going to very nicely not only help deny the plant, but it's also able to get rid of any Hibana pellets that go onto that main mirror. It can get rid of drones. It can get rid of anything really. And on top of that, that Maestro can see through the smoke. So if they try and go for a smoke plant, which of course Athletico aren't really so much known for, well, then they've got utility for that as well. It's more likely we're going to see a heavy concussive plant from Athletico, involving primarily those concussion blasts from Zephyr on the lifeline, but also those Ying Candelas in conjunction with that Lion. And it's very devastating, and it's something that Athletico have become quite known for.
Especially because that Maestro is in that safe position where it can't really be shot if you're outside of the site. Nevertheless, we will see the first line charge off. Todd will run in, he'll take the damage from the Claymore. This is just all over the place, but somehow Athletico seem to be coming out on top here. Joker will get a team kill from Emo. He finds one, but he can't find Casper, and that'll be Outlaws claiming victorious here. That was so close.
Emo with the team kill. That was just not what Athletico needed at that point. Oh no, it got down to a 1 versus 1 as well, and Casper once again, the last man alive, really doing what the difference is. A great job from... In fact, it was just trades back and forth. Let's have a look at the scoreboard, because seriously, I feel like there's got to be such a funny distribution. Athletico looking pretty strong all around, with Emo and Ethan, the E Club, really at the top of the scoreboard. Derpa yet to find one, unfortunately for him, but as for the Outlaws side, it's really just the Casper show.
It really is, isn't it? Casper, again, getting that beautiful 3k run out early on in the match. He hasn't quite managed to find something as crazy as that, but that's fine. He doesn't need to do that. He just needs to, do his job on the team, find a frag here and there. I don't think they're going to be expecting him to find 3 kills every round.
No, I mean, it's a bit much to ask for, isn't it? Now, talking about Outlaws a bit more, we spent a little last round talking about Athletico. I'd like to talk about the Outlaws roster. So, brief history lesson. Outlaws played under the name Equinox in the last Pro League season. They ended up getting 10-0'd by, then known as Mindfreak, now Fnatic, in the early stages of the bracket, and eventually sent home by Taboo in quite a convincing fashion as well. So they had a really rough Pro League, and then got relegated as well by Verdict. But then they completely reassessed themselves. They reformed. I believe they only have 1 or 2 core players from that last season on their current roster, and they really fought back. And they've been a very, very strong team ever since, managing to claw their way back through that 8th place Pro League qualifier, impromptu closed qualifier that we had to have due to Verdict disbanding, and they earned themselves that spot by beating out TBD, which is a team of very, very strong players, formerly of Pro League teams. Now, further onto that, Sirom, who I mentioned earlier, is the captain of Outlaws, but I've just been messaged by him. He's actually away for a few weeks, visiting his family, so Casper has now taken up his spot on core. Previously, I assume Casper was a sub. Now, I think that for a stand-in, Casper's doing a pretty good job so far, wouldn't you say?
He's doing alright, Tim.
Now, following on from that, one of the things that I've been informed may potentially be the downfall of Outlaws is the leadership, the team leadership, because obviously with Sirom gone, that IGL position has now fallen onto players who aren't necessarily so comfortable on it. Now, I'm not insinuating anything. I'm not trying to have a go. I'm just saying what I've been told. So Joker and Bundy now IGLing together, and they seem to be doing all right so far. I guess it'll really come down to how they function on these attacks. Now that we've switched the halves and Outlaws are going to be attacking, that's when the IGL skills that really come into play.
Absolutely. Silex here, also on the Maestro. I wonder if they've got that same Maestro. I'd be very interested to see. They don't. No, they don't have it. So I wonder where they've actually managed to place them. Casper! Oh, wow. Casper's done so much here for this team. Oh, this is just crazy.
Fantastic job. Was that a nade through the floor? I'm not actually quite sure. Yeah, wow, that was just a perfectly timed nade. Now, we haven't seen that in a long time. That used to be so on meta back in year one, but no, I mean, if you are skilled enough to be able to perfectly time your grenades so that they explode directly when you throw them up to the floor, then, well, good job to you. Now, Casper playing this IQ, an operator that's, can counter so many different of the defensive operators, whether it's the ADSs from Jaeger, whether it's the batteries from Bandit, that we had a Legion playing, something like that, and also, most prominently, those Valkyrie cameras from Todd, who has now been eliminated. Casper's going to have eyes on all of those using his electronic scanner.
Absolutely, and for a long time, IQ's been getting lots of, I guess, minor buffs, because pretty much all the new abilities that get added, IQ always is managing to pick them up, yet she doesn't see any crazy play rate, which is interesting to see. Ooh. Emo! How do you find that?
He managed to get taken down to about 3 points of health, but he did finally take down Casper, who has been the heavy fragger so far. Imarin hiding inside of bodies. What's new, guys? If you don't know, Imarin is kind of known for just hiding in the most absurd places. If you ever heard of Emo is barbed wire, Emo is now Derpa's dead body.
Poor Derpa.
Yes, and we've got Silex. We just saw one of his Maestros is actually inside. Oh, wow, we've actually got the attackers pushing in, and with Ethan downstairs, hopefully he can deal some damage for Atheltico. Silex with the Maestro using that LMG finds one. The plant gets denied as well. No, he doesn't get denied. It gets taken down, but immediately refragged. It's now all up to TX. Complete eyes on onto where TX is playing is from the Maestro. Silex. Maestro does get taken down, but now it's the 1 versus 2. TX just trying to hold the diffuser, but he gets taken down by Ethan on the push up. Plenty of time for Silex to stick this defuse, and Athletico are going to go up 4-2 now with their first successful defense.
Beautiful stuff there from Athletico. That Maestro at the back of CC helped them out in the end. It made him... I would have liked to see where they made him think that they're about to shoot him, but someone run in. But you know what? It worked out in the end, so they can't be too upset about that. Again, Athletico back on the attack here. I'll be interested. I mean, the defense. Sorry, my apologies. Back on the defense. Obviously, they can't go back to upstairs, so they are going to go to ventilation. We're seeing Castle, which I don't know. You know a stat. You might have this in your workbook somewhere, Dev. I would like to know the pick rate of Castle on this site, because I feel like it'd be quite high.
Oh, look, unfortunately I don't make a note every time Castle's played. You know who I would have to talk to the Siege GG guys about that, because they do a great job. I'm sorry I don't write down every single operator lineup for every single round. My magic book isn't that magic. I'm gonna take just a stab right now. I reckon it's something at 80% or something for Castle. Especially, it's gonna vary from team to team, because it's probably likely that there are teams who just pick Castle every time on this defense, and sometimes teams that don't pick it at all. But for these two teams, they both seem to be favoring, especially Outlaws. It's an integral part of that downstairs strategy. Now, I have been informed by chat, thank you very much, Noob from AU, that TXNZ is actually pronounced Tins. I guess that makes sense, right? A lot of people like putting X's in their names to be cool, but Tins it is.
It's just a phase.
It's just a phase. Well,
nevertheless, in the meantime, I've actually seen that Castle that was of hot debate in our pre-round talks actually been swapped out here for Silex on the Echo. So you know what? We'll just scrap that discussion completely.
Maybe we should go down to 79% instead of 80%. Maybe I'm trying to cover myself there, but no, I actually really like this. So because that Castle pick is so prevalent when you see that castle being picked, you have a basic idea as an attacker. When you see that reveal phase and you see what the enemy's lineup is, you have a basic idea of what their defense is gonna look like. Most likely, you'll have a castle barricade inside of the bathroom. You'll have a rotate hole into bathroom from workshop, and you probably have castle barricades elsewhere in order to protect your roamers. Now, we don't. With that castle being switched off in favor of an echo, it means that the attackers won't be as prepared to look for those yokai drones, which can not only be used to deny plant, but also used to an extreme effect on the roam, and that's what Silex is going to be using one of them for, throwing it upstairs. Also, we've seen quite a lot of utilization of the intel that Echo gets, Echo brings to the team, in conjunction with C4s from below. It can really deal a lot of damage, and I've seen that to be very effectively used very effectively in the Pro League so far.
It's pretty funny. Emo getting a little bit of a fright there when Silex starts to use his supernova to shoot up through the floor. I'm sure he's reassured quite quickly that all is good. You can see that the Thatcher grenade going out. Ooh, jeez, playing very aggressive there and punishing Bundy quite heavily, actually.
And look at all the players who are forming up. And that's an easy bandit trick for Emo Rin. There needs to be some kind of vertical pressure to flush him out. A grenade for Casper. So unfortunate that he actually falls to that one. F's in the chat, please. And there you go. Finally a kill onto Bundy from Emo Rin. An absolute nuts player. Look at the way he traces. And look, Thatcher and Sledge gone down. We still have two forms of hard breach on the attacker in the Joker on the Hibana and Muesli on the Thermite, but them plus the Lion, now there's not really a lot to work with. And now that there's Ethan as well upstairs, and Todd, there's just so much going for them upstairs. Todd, no doubt, is going to peek this. He might be going for it. C4 could even take... Nope, that was unfortunate. But there you go, the C4 anyway comes from Depper. Two C4s going headlong at Muesli. That's just not too great. And Todd peeks through the Lion charge, taking down Tins. It's all up to Joker, and this is just really rough so far for Outlaws. Potentially the first flawless round in this entire match, if Atheltico can clean this up and spear themselves onto match point.
Such a shame here. Atheltico could just be running away with this map at this stage. Again, one more after this. I'm gonna presume that they're gonna win this round unless Joker can pull something extremely nutty. They're still a round after, but it seems like Atheltico are not messing around anymore. And you can see that Todd dropping down. I think he's silent dropped actually, because Joker doesn't seem to be aware of him completely. Many people
might not be aware that you can actually still silent drop. They did patch it, but then a slight way to utilize the silent drop did sneak through, and nonetheless, Ethan takes down Joker. And yeah, we can play silent dropping with Dev another time because Ethan wants to finish off this game.
Wow, that was a really nice shot from Ethan. And earlier in the match, we saw that trace from Emo Rin. That just sort of shows you the confidence that he has to hit his shot. He doesn't want to peek while obviously he's being shot at and while they're looking at him. The second they go behind that wall, the amount of confidence he has to completely trace them through the wall, it's just insane.
Fantastic game sense, really, from Emo Rin. He knows exactly how long it takes them to make those two steps, exactly how, whether he's going to be head height, whether he's going to be crouch height. Really great stuff from Emo Rin, and just holding down and controlling that recoil, it really maximizes your chances of netting a kill. Just the more bullets that go out, the more likely one of them's going to hit the head. Nonetheless, here onto match point 5-2. This is looking a lot more dominant now, as Outlaws have yet to win an attack. It was fairly even 3-2 in favor of Atheltico after the first half, but on Athletico's defenses, it's been fairly dominant. Now, obviously, since Atheltico have won their primary bomb site of Armory Archives, the secondary bomb site of Vents Workshop, they're having to be forced onto a tertiary site, which is going to be Customs Inspection and Supply. Now, this can really go both ways. It's generally regarded as the second weakest or weakest bomb site on the map, but that said, if you've got a decent strategy for it, if you play well, if you have the momentum running on from your previous rounds, and if the attackers don't have an effective strategy for dealing with you, well, then you're likely to take the win, regardless of how typically effective this site is.
Indeed, and this is really the new format, I guess, showing at its best in a way. I think the new format, what Ubisoft is really trying to do, is to, I guess, sort of show the different parts of their map. They don't necessarily want people to play two sites and just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. They're trying to sort of widen up the maps, and that's especially what they're doing with the new sort of map changes with Clubhouse, which is now, I'd say pretty much every site on that map is now viable. Hereford Base is getting a complete overhaul, and I'm sure that will be more competitively. It will become a more competitively centric sort of map. I don't know how that's possible, as Hereford Base is the most uncompetitive map in my opinion right now. But you know, we'll see how that turns out.
Well, yeah, I mean, it really is a pattern. All of the changes coming into the competitive scene have been trying to favor variety, whether it's the bomb site rotation rules, whether it's the operator bans, and even the map picking rules in the Pro League, which bans out the map that the teams previously played in the previous week, which means we're seeing a lot of variety, and I personally think this is really healthy for the scene. A lot of people don't like, a lot of people think, oh, why do you want to see bad gameplay? Why do you want to see bad maps, bad sites? No, you don't understand. It's about, you know, your adaptations and about understanding the game as a wider whole, not just being able to, you know, one trick this particular strategy, this particular meta, this particular bomb site. And I'm really excited for all the new changes. It's really been shaping up fantastically so far.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how this plays out. I'm sure it'll take a little bit of time before teams fully adapt and manage to sort of feel these new competitive settings out. I'm sure it'll be worth it in the long run. We can see here Ethan getting absolutely droned out. Ooh. Ethan's been lit very heavy by Bundy there, I believe. Luckily, however, he is still going to be alive, and he's now going to be holding this angle. This could be scary for Outlaws if they aren't aware of this.
Outlaws are shaping up very heavily around Archives and Armory, but Ethan, having managed to escape, might actually be able to get the drop on them, especially now that they're getting spotted out by those alibis. Oh, no, pre-fire through the wall from Casper. Great job. He had the intel. He must have. No way he could do that without the intel. He just pre-fires, and that's going to leave Ema and the last remaining player upstairs. Now, if Atheltico lose out on control of Armory, it's going to mean that their CCTV hold up where Imarin has rotated to is going to be much weaker. And now, well, Imarin is the last remaining player upstairs, getting pushed now by the entire Outlaws team, but he's delayed so much time. He gets taken down finally by Muesli, but, well, there's just not a lot of time for Outlaws to do what they need to. They have the ground, it's just a matter of how fast can they move.
Bundy there finding Silex. It's all going to be up to Derpa and Todd here. This is not going to be easy for them. Sure, we can see Outlaws is clearly very pressed for time, but in a 2v5, how difficult can that really prove to be? Todd here needs to make a play, needs to get at least 2 of them here, I'd say, in order for this to be a successful round. Or Derpa just needs to go mad. Whatever works, but Casper will take down Todd. It's all up to Derpa here. You can try and deny that plant, which is going down, but it's going to be very difficult for him here. He's being pre-fired. He'll get taken down, and Outlaws will fight back with a bang, evening them out to 3-5.
Yes, well, it's not so much even just yet, but it's definitely, and Outlaws can't lose another round, otherwise they're out. They have to push it to overtime if they want to stay in border, otherwise they're going to have to push it through on both Oregon and Consulate in order to take the win in this best of 3.
Indeed. Wasn't quite evening out. You're very correct on that note, Dev, so that's exactly what Outlaws are going to have to attempt to do here. Outlaw, Armory Lockers Archives here being picked by Athletico, and this was the initial site that they picked up, and they were quite successful on it.
Yeah, this is where it gets really rough for Outlaws. They finally won an attack, but it was on the weakest of Athletico's bomb sites, and they've got completely thrashed on vents, and well, Armory Lockers, they didn't have too much luck either, so they've really got to step it up in order. This is where it's a real question of, can Outlaws make the necessary adaptations, or is this GG, and do Athletico take map number 1? Now, Todd switching... Wow, Muesli switching off the Thermite for a Montaigne. Todd switching off the Valkyrie for a Legion. I don't think Todd realizes how effective that Legion is going to be at countering what Outlaws have brought, because, well, that Montaigne is typically only brought for one reason. There's no hard breach for Outlaws. They're likely going to be going for a rush strat onto the Archives doorway, onto the balcony. We've got one spawning east vehicle. I'm surprised that we don't have more spawning over there at the east vehicle entrance. The east side is where it's, you know, the best to push onto Archives. Now I'm expecting we're going to see a plant right in that piece of barbed wire, or at least that's the assumption here of where Muesli's going to attempt to plant. It's pretty much a typical Montaigne strat, and the fact that they hid the Montaigne through the reveal phase means that Athletico aren't necessarily going to be aware. Because as you can tell, I mean, as soon as I saw that Monty, I feel like I've read pretty much what Outlaws are going to do, and if Athletico knew, they could just look into exactly how to counter that. You stack up your Legion Mines over there, maybe save your Legion Mines and throw them down late to avoid that Thatcher from destroying your Legion Mines. Maybe put a Maestro inside of Archives. There's a lot of things that Athletico could definitely do to help out with this last-ditch effort from Outlaws.
Certainly is a last-ditch effort, and as you said, they did get a little bit thrashed last time, so beg your pardon. They are going to be trying something a little bit different here and hope for the best. And this is exactly what you had theorized here, Dave. They're going to be going for the Archives, and it's going to be interesting to see exactly how successful this is. I wonder if Emo will be able to pull a Casper and kill 3 of them.
Well, it's something that actually really does work when the pushes are going in this way. You can just pull a Casper and jump out and get multiple kills. Now, Outlaws have to make sure that they're watching for that. Emo in doing what Emo does, pre-firing through walls, hoping to find a lucky head. It's, anything can happen. And look at all the Athletico players who are stacking up on this side of the map. It's almost like they already know what's going to happen. Now, I believe there is a Blackbeard that's Tins on the north balcony. That's going to be a very devastating position. However, Ethan has to be completely flushed out first. Joker is going to be dancing with him at the moment, but Ethan still hasn't been dealt with. Tins does find Todd using the SR-25. However, well, Outlaws have shown their hand, and as such, Ethan's going to find the kill onto Casper with no immediate refrag. No, Joker pushes in and takes him down. And the team kill. What are you doing, Tins? I think Tins didn't... He looked back. He didn't realize... Oh, Tins, and that's just not looking great. For a second, they had the advantage, but even on after that, team kill, Montaigne has been taken down, and Outlaws staring down the barrel of match point. Tins getting a little bit confused. Who's on my team? Who's on the enemy team? Just up to Bundy and Tins to find the last 3 attackers, and no doubt there is so much that the defenders can do. However, Emo gets taken down by Tins with the SR-25. He finds another one. Can he redeem himself with this last kill? No. Silex cleans it up. That's match point off the board. Silex the 2K to get that half or that map, however you want to play it. GG, well played. Athletico take the win 6-3.
That is absolutely crazy from Tins. I saw his teammate jump out there, and I thought he knew it was his teammate, so he accidentally downed him. I was like, oh, he'll just get him off, and then he looks back at him and shoots him.
Casper with 13 kills at the end of that one, Emo with 10, and unfortunately for Derper, only the breadstick. It's a bit rough so far, but Athletico, well, that's one game up for them now. That's the best of 3 series that we have, so Border going the way of Athletico is going to leave us next up with Oregon. Now, Oregon is one of the maps that we saw played in the Pro League between these two teams just a few days ago in Play-Doh 1 of the ANZ Pro League, and that went to Athletico 6-4. So, well, yes, it was an Athletico win, but it was closer than what we just saw.
Indeed it was. And this next map is really where Outlaws need to try and, I guess... What's the word I'm looking for? They need to reclaim. No, I don't even know what word I'm looking for, Dev.
They need to bounce back.
Bounce back. That'll do for now. They need to. I feel like they need to gain momentum in the early game and really carry it through. They can't really be slowing down, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that here it's just a question of Athletico do have the momentum going for them, and how effective is Outlaws going to be at going against the grain, so to speak. Now, we know that they're good on Oregon. It was a 6-4 last time these two teams duked it out on that map. So anything is really possible, and this is something that was brought up in the chat. If Control can draw with FNC on Oregon, then Outlaws can win Oregon against Ath. Now, I think there might be a little bit of bias there in that statement from Boy George, being from Outlaws, but I mean, I think that he does have a point. This is the season for upsets. And, speaking of upsets, might I remind you that currently on Rainbow Six ANZ, that's the Ubisoft channel wherein Monkey Fist and Flea are currently casting. It's map 2 between TBD and Darkside. It's on border. Darkside are up by 1 point on this map, but TBD are up by 1 map.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. TBD are on the cusp of taking down Darksided. So anything can happen, guys. Absolutely anything can happen.
I'm actually really surprised by that. That's actually quite scary.
Just soak it in, right? Well, imagine if we had, so most people would expect that in ANZ, the order of the top teams is probably something like Fnatic, Darksided, Athletico. At least that's what I would say. The top 3, fairly cemented. It's been that way for quite a long time. And, well, FNC aren't in this qualifier because they've already earned their spot at the Paris Major. That leaves the real contest between Darkside and Athletico. Now, if Darkside are about to lose to TBD, made up, quite substantially of former Darkside players, well, I mean, that's looking scary, especially since Athletico here, then, that was a fairly convincing map against Outlaws, but the next one, we presume, won't be as convincing. It's making you think, this is really the season for upsets.
It really is, Dev. It's quite scary, to be honest. I'm sorry, but I still can't get over the fact that TBD is a map up.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a team who's only been around for a week, 2 weeks, and really, hasn't had that experience, as a roster. They've had that experience individually, lots of very strong players, but in terms of, their experience as a roster, their strategies, their cohesion, that's something that they're really lacking at the moment.
Indeed, and without further ado, we should be getting back into map number 2, which is Oregon. Right now, actually, this is going to be very interesting. This is where Outlaws have their chance to fight back, but also where Athletico can push themselves to that much beloved semi-finals that I'm sure they want themselves in.
Oh yeah, now, kicking it off here on Oregon, we've got Athletico versus Outlaws for map 2. Athletico just taking the first map of border 6-3, and we presume this is going to be a little bit closer, as last week in the Pro League on day 1, Athletico beat Outlaws 6-4. Anything can happen though. Hibana ban coming out from Outlaws. Wow, nice. Just starting it off nice and impactful from Outlaws. We'll see how Athletico reply. I'm expecting a Glaz ban. Let's see if the prophetic Dev Marta is going to be making a return. Come on.
Don't do it. Don't up his ego.
Come on. Hey, I guess the
It's
Montaigne...
not going to be a Glaz, it's going to be Lesion.
This is an attacker ban, Sky.
Lesion's an attacker.
Well, okay, interesting. So Athletico banning out the Jackal means that they're probably... Because Athletico have notoriously played a lot of Jackal in the past. So it's not like that they don't like Jackal and they just want to ban it because they're not going to use it. They specifically are banning it because they're probably going to be doing more roaming than usual. And I wonder if we'll see a Vigil ban come out because, Vigil is an operator that... No, Echo ban. All right, so Athletico banning out the Jackal gives them more freedom with the roaming, and banning out the Echo means that the executes are going to be a lot easier because that's a lot of defender utility plant denial that is gone. So, wow, very interesting, especially since Athletico both love Jackal and Echo. Let's see if Outlaws is going to ban the Vigil. I would advise it at this stage because you can see Athletico clearly want to roam. No, is it going to be an anchor? Hey, there you go. I'm a prophet, this guy.
Nah, not really.
I'm a flippin' prophet.
Something that again I've only merely dipped my toes into competitive, but when I did play, the mindset that the team, again, these were mostly pug teams, but the teams sort of had with this new format was, alright, we're defending first, so let's make their attack very difficult because we have 5 rounds on defense. So let's ban that Hibana. Let's ban, really things that make it difficult. Equally, if you're attacking first, you want to. Sometimes teams will ban mirror, stuff like that. So it's quite interesting. And Deb, I know we're going to get into the year-old debate, not a year-old debate, but a debate that's very heavily contested about the whole. If you win 5 rounds in a row, you should be able to do it back and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to touch on that. Look, honestly, it goes both ways. Yes. Especially if you're going against a very emotional team, it's wise to make the ban phase go in favor of the side that you start on. However, I just like to point out that Outlaws spent their ban on Hibana. Now, this is Hibana, typically a ban that you would say affects both teams equally, unless if one team is really that much better at dealing with Hibana than the other team, and the other team is just really clueless. But, you know, Athletico aren't going to be clueless at dealing with that Hibana. Like, we've seen it before. They know what they're doing. They don't even have a Hibana. Like, obviously, they don't have a Hibana right now. But, you know, Sylex playing Thermite, no real surprises here. What I think that Outlaws would have been smarter in banning would be the Blitz, because if you've done your homework on Athletico recently, these guys are savage with the Blitz, and Blitz on Oregon is so very scary and so very powerful. I mean, just look at any, like, you know, Team Liquid, FaZe, any of the Brazilian teams. Hell, you look at Fnatic, you look at Athletico, all these teams have made Blitz work so well here on Oregon, and I think that this is going to be a fairly substantial lead for Athletico in the first half.
Neophyte is Brazilian, isn't he?
I no comment.
Neo had a lot of success though with that. All jokes aside, he had a lot of success on that Blitz. I think it was Playday number 2, where he really did make control. He made it hard for them, to say the least.
Yeah, now, because there is no Vigil, which has been banned by Outlaws, I might add, Outlaws who are standing on the defense, it's going to be a lot harder to roam. And look at this, Todd's just getting so aggressive. Can Muesli do what it takes to take down Todd? No, but he does take him very low. Todd's no doubt going to be going outside for a reset, but still, that's one free kill for Athletico. So it just shows the power of the Blitz. Even if Muesli does everything he possibly can, which he did, he played it well, he's still going to get taken down, and Todd gets back up with 50 HP.
Todd doing a little bit of a spin to make it a bit more fancy, and you can see the second he got that kill, he starts sprinting outside for the mere purpose of getting a reset.
Oh yeah, I mean, you've got to be prepared.
Around.
You know, he's not messing around, and I'm sure that having Athletico scrimmed this, having Athletico have scrimmed with Blitz so much, they're probably very used to just going for the quick reset. So it's something Athletico are just so well practiced. They know what they're doing, and they can make these calls so fast. Joker with a really nice angle from the big watchtower all the way, and that leads to the top of the armory stairs. You can do a lot of damage from there, especially since Imarin's trying to hold angles and pressure down the stairs. Now, Sylex is going to be trying to open up that hatch, but obviously, as we mentioned before, the mute jammers from Muesli are going to make that a little bit harder, but it's pretty easy to deal with for Athletico because they have a Thatcher.
Indeed, we do have the smoke as well, which is going to be quite useful for denying that plant. And I feel like smoke is almost a must when you don't have an echo. Sometimes teams will try to pull it off with the echo, but smoke is so vital, and it's a bit sad, to be honest. He's starting to see less use because there's so many more alternatives that are coming out.
Yeah, well, I think it's the Maestro, the Smoke, and the Mirror which are really going to help deny this push. But the thing is, if this Blitz is going to be... I think the Blitz really needs to be dropping into the rear hatches. But I think it's, you know, because they're probably going to be using this Blitz to try and plant backwards. Todd having the diffuser right now. But with those gas canisters, Todd already being on 50 HP means that he really can't stand to risk inhaling too much of those toxic babes. So I think that Todd's really going to have to rely on the rush kind of plant, you know, rushing down the rear hatches, maybe in conjunction with Alliance and Zephyr charges, but it's not really looking like that's what's going to happen. The smoke grenades are going to come out, and Todd's going to drop in the middle. He doesn't have the diffuser. He's going to go headlong down the hallway. He flashes the first one of the Mirror, and he finds the kill as well. Derper also finding one. Todd gets taken down by Casper, but the plant has gone down, and there's only 2 players on the defense in order to retake. Now, that Blitz may have died, but he got 2 kills, and he did everything that was necessary of him. I think it was only 1 kill, but it doesn't matter. Look, Athletico are in such an advantageous position. They can just set up drones, play safe. Sylex prone on the stairs, does 1 in, and Ethan cleans it up. And Bondi goes down, and that is a very clean round for Athletico.
Indeed, Athletico not messing around there. Unfortunately, you know, we talked about this. Outlaws, they need to get that momentum going early, especially because Athletico coming off a map when they're not going to be feeling too shabby, or like they're going to be feeling pretty good about themselves. They need to, and again, they've already started off with a bang. Outlaws, in my opinion, they need to stop this right now, pretty much. They cannot allow Athletico to sort of run the map.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And look, what can they do, really? I think that if it was me, I'd just be bringing out the Legion. And yeah, Joker's doing it. There you go. I'm a prophet today. I'm on fire today, Sky. Bring out the Legion. Like the mute's not really helping that much because Athletico have a decent amount of utility to face check. They don't really have the drone. They have the Blitz, which is great for face checking. They have the Zephyr, which means that they can find out locations of players just by using those proximity exploding concussion mines. And so I feel like the mute, like, it's a nice idea, but the enemy team's running a Thatcher and they're going to face check everything anyway. So maybe switch it off that. Give yourself even more, I don't know, barbed wire. Give yourself something more that's going to, maybe even an Ella. Look, an Ella would be great against the Blitz because it stops him from being quite as potent, stops him from being quite as fast, gives a nice sound cue as well. I feel like there's quite a few more pieces of utility that the defenders could be bringing. Now, they've lost the Maestro this time. They must have thought the Maestro wasn't being that helpful. Kind of surprising. I think Maestro is typically quite strong at preventing those kind of rush executes, but I suppose they just felt like they needed someone who was not attached to his phone, essentially, just someone who was actively up and ready to take a frag and prevent a rush.
And I think that's exactly what they wanted to do there. You could see at the end there, Maestro, not only did he manage to not deny that plant, but, you know, he was still on his phone as Blitz sort of ran in, and although Blitz didn't find the kill, you can see how that could end badly if things were a little bit different.
Yeah. While I condone this Legion pick, I still think that there's a little bit more ways to go for Outlaws to, you know, shore up their lineup to really hard counter this Athletico style that we've got right now. And look, the drones have come out and revealed that position of, I believe it's Casper, and through the drone hole, Todd's trying to find an angle. Now that pistol doesn't do a lot of damage at that range, but regardless, he's not even going to have the optic required to find that shot anyhow. Now, Blitz doing lots of droning. I mean, this is something that I personally think is really good. You don't want your Blitz necessarily to always be running around. You just want him when you need him. Get him to do lots of droning.
Indeed, and again, more flashbacks. Yesterday we were playing I ranked, and Dev told me when I wanted to play Blitz, he said, you just got to chill out. You know, you don't run in and die. You got to take it slowly.
Yeah, that's right. Ooh, and look, Todd, he's taking it slowly. He's lying down on the kitchen floor trying to find kills with the drone hole with that P12. And, well, I think that at the moment, Athletico, while they're forming up around the lobby, they're still very worried about this meeting hold. And this is a nice setup from Outlaws so far, and really it comes down to Athletico have to deal with it.
In before drop-shotting Blitz.
It doesn't work, trust. It drop-shotting with Blitz, even before the drop-shot nerf, it just doesn't work, guys. Now, Legion Mine is going to be stopping Todd in his tracks. There's a great example, but Ethan with this entry frag finds Casper, Derper with one as well. Silex using that thermite charge to make himself an opening into pantry, leaving the last three remaining defenders all on site, with still a whole minute for Athletico to make this push, and still an entire EE1D, I do believe, and a lot of utility to make this work.
Indeed, at this stage it looks like this is Athletico's round, but, you know, there's still 3 people left, and Smoke and Mirror are beautiful denying operators, as well as that mute, presuming that he has a C4, in which he does. So they have a decent chunk of denial here, but I still don't like their chances too much. Another smoke wave. Todd's going to be in the middle of it. He's going to try back out. No, Todd!
He's going to get a reset though. No, it's not going to be. It was not to be, and that is such a fantastic blow to Athletico. Outlaws really managing to take down that smoke. Todd was completely tracked between a rock and a really smelly place. He gets taken down, but now the plant is going to go down from Erarin on top of the Dryer, and Silex and Derper both find one, leaving it all up to Muesli. He runs straight down and gets taken down by Ethan once again. This man is insane. I mean, I heard that Athletico picked him up from casual or something, and he's just doing amazingly. So props to Ethan.
Is that a meme, Dev, or is that for real?
That's what I heard. Like, I mean, I haven't seen him in. We have a look at the score, but I haven't seen him in comp at all before, and he's top fragging. You know, where we've got Emo Rin with 0 kills, we've got Ethan with 3, and he was almost matching Emo Rin, one of the best fraggers in ANZ for frags last game as well. Now it's Derper switching onto the Blitz, and Athletico switching off. Athletico. Todd switching off. Maybe Todd wants to play a Dockerby? No, not sure what's going to happen there. Nonetheless, after 2 losses on the laundry site, Outlaws decide it's finally time to give Dorms a shot.
Good on them. They don't want to keep pushing at something that clearly isn't working, and Blitz is going to, I guess, play a little bit differently on this site. How successful it'll be will be interesting, but you can see there they're going to be swapping off of the Blitz onto the Ying.
Nice.
No Blitz will be in play this round, so good mind games from Ath.
Yep, and great mind games. I really like it. So that gives Athletico the flexibility to not so much worry about the Blitz only being able to take those close range engagements. They have Ying now, who has a rifle. It's actually an LMG, and it's much more powerful than it used to be. It's got a lot less recoil and it has a lot more damage to it, as well as that 81 bullet magazine. It's really complements the fragging style that Ying has kind of fallen into, especially with her losing those smoke grenades. But Todd playing on that role, I think he's going to do quite well. There's also a lot of flexibility you can do with Ying on this site. You can, throw your candelas in and enter from big window. You can do the same for kids windows. You have quite a bit of flexibility. Hell, you could even go up white stairs if you really wanted to. But nonetheless, Outlaws seem to be getting themselves a nice heavy downstairs presence inside of the kitchen. And, well, this is only going to matter if they have the vertical play in order to deny plants in kids and in big window.
Indeed, and we see shield here being in play with a nice shield that I thought was pretty cool was from Rizraz on PL. They sort of put it up against this this little cabinet here, and it created a nice chunk of cover. But that's not what we're going to be seeing here from Outlaws.
It didn't stop him from drawing against control.
It didn't, but are you gonna blame that on the shield, Dev?
Well, the shield was a nice touch. I don't think it really made much difference, but yeah, it was a nice touch. Playing a little bit of an unusual position, that's not you're not usually allowed to play in. Nonetheless, Athletico are shaping up around this big window take. In fact, they're fairly spread out at the moment. It looks like we've got 4 now, shaped up around lobby, with Ethan just putting some pressure on to the west side. There's a lot of versatility, a lot of different things that you can do with this kind of take here. You can take Attic, you can take Armory Master, which seems to be what Athletico have done, or you can just go for a big window and white stairs take. And it looks like the Armory take is what's going to happen. I like that. Silex, that sprinting into the corner, he was checking for a Maestro device, I believe. No, he wanted to pick up his drone? I don't know. Something like that.
I was actually thinking that. And you're giving people ideas now. That's actually a decent strat, putting a Maestro behind that cabinet and taking down a Thermite or a Barn Charges.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, these mute jammers are going to be a bit of a nuisance to Athletico trying to gain intel on the site, which is so important when you need to execute. You just need to gain intel if possible, and then figure out how you want to execute. And because we've had Athletico neglecting this west side, it's also allowed Casper to start a flank into Small Tower. So if they do decide, well, he's not in Small Tower yet, but he's near in the area. So if Athletico do go for a rotate to the west side, they could get very punished.
Indeed, I'd certainly hope if that is the path they choose that they will be prepared for the possibility of someone like Sneaky or Casper possibly trying to deal a decent chunk of damage. They've completely forfeited this kitchen mirror almost. They've got Muesli a little bit further back watching the L hallway, but for the most part they don't really seem to be too concerned with that mirror. It does look like they have now breached into the small dorms. Flashbangs going out for Silex. Casper actually managing to find one onto Emo Red. He's now going to run back up as he's now completely aware of what is going down. They do not have a mirror looking into here. They've got a hole. They don't seem to be aware here. Todd rushes in. Todd finds two. Beautiful stuff from him. And now both players are stuck on the white stairs. They're going to have to try and make their way back into the site here. Todd will get taken down. Muesli completely flashed out. Casper as well trying to do damage. Not sure how much luck he's going to have as Ethan, just outside of this window here. They know someone's there, but he doesn't seem to be peeking. He's playing this really great.
This EE1D is going to burn even more time, and Derpa is going to punish Muesli for standing still. It's really a die or die scenario. Ethan's so safe here. He's just going to load bullets into anyone that he sees. He gets the injure onto Joker. Silex takes down Casper to clean it up. Another round for Athletico, making 3 apiece. It really is off the back of the fact that Outlaws were not prepared at all for that plant to go down. There was a Maestro in the exact same room as where the plant was going down, and no one was operating it. No one knew that Silex was planting. There was not even any smoke cover. It was just a little bit of negligence on the side of Outlaws that have let Athletico get 3 points upwards.
I do think Todd pushing in main window with that Ying probably put, made them think twice about where exactly they were pushing. but I 100% agree with you in that they should have been more prepared for that plant. There wasn't really any cover, but there was like one flashbang before the plant even started, and that was about it. They had a line charge going off as well, but still there just wasn't really anything in place there. Well, there was stuff in place, like the maestros, but it wasn't really utilised properly.
Yeah, and I mean, there was a heavy presence from Outlaws downstairs in kitchen, even with a mirror, and well, what did that do? Absolutely nothing. It wasn't pushed, and it wasn't used to help deny the plant. And I mean, that's kind of unfortunate to see. There's so much utility dedicated into an area that just wasn't pushed at all. And well, that's giving Atheltico another round. I want to talk about Todd for another second. He's potentially sixth picking off the Ying, maybe onto a blitz. No, he's staying on the Ying. So Todd's been doing the exact same role for every one of these rounds, even though he's been switching between Blitz and Ying. And it's funny, you might think, oh, how do Blitz and Ying have similar roles? Like, I mean, one of them has an LMG with 81 bullets that can, sprint in and not get flashed. The other one, runs around with a shield at, 200 kilometers per hour. How are these very similar operators? And it's because, well, Todd has been picking a spot and then rushing it right when the plant's going down. He's been picking a spot, dealing a lot of damage, making a huge ruckus right when the plant is going down on the other side of the objective. And it's been working so effectively against Outlaws. Whenever he was playing Blitz and rushing into the rear of Supply Room while the plant's going down on the laundry side, or whether it was him jumping in big window and really putting pressure on while the plant was actually going on, unbeknownst to Outlaws on the other objective.
Indeed, and when you mention 200-kilometer blitz, I'm having TTS flashbacks, Dev.
Flashbacks from flashbacks from TTS.
That was something else. And see, even pushing the exact same spot here.
Yeah, and well, there's once again that downstairs presence, but Derper gets a free kill at the start. Joker's gone down. That's the Jaeger off the board. I should hope he got down all his utility. It's likely he did, but you still can't disregard the importance of that kill. Derper only took, I believe, 1 bullet for it, and Ethan face checking Thatcher, a fragging Thatcher. This is something we've seen time and time again. NVK being probably the most renowned. And yeah, Ethan's been doing very well with this L85. He pushes straight on in there, and just fantastic team play. Imorin with the concussions, Ethan with the frags, Todd finds Casper as well. This is just looking so Athletico right now.
It really is, and this is exactly what I said Outlaws cannot allow to happen. They've allowed Athletico to pull that momentum with them from border, and now they're just storming away with this map. This, something crazy needs to happen, whether it's this round or the next, for Outlaws to try and swing things back in their direction. Yeah, a beautiful, if Casper could run out and get 3 kills again, that'd be quite useful.
Well, I mean, he has to be alive for more than 2 minutes in order to make that happen, maybe. He's taken down already so early, which is just such a significant blow to Outlaws. Up to Tins and Bundy. Bundy with only a few points of health remaining, about, 40 or so. And, well, the attack is shaping up. They have so much time. I mean, Athletico can, it's almost like an all-you-can-eat. Like, they have the time, they have they can do whatever they want. And now Bundy's gone, taken down as well, all up to Tins. The last player, and he's been completely concussed. He could get yinged, or the attackers could just push the other side. It really doesn't matter. He's completely trapped if Athletico play this right.
You can see him here trying to fight back against Imorin. Wherever he goes, Imorin doesn't. Right about now, no. So close here. Emo should be able to find him. It's just ridiculous, this angle. He's going to sneak out, however, and Emo will take him down. Emo also managed to down the Legion there. So he'll pick up 2, and that'll be Athletico winning out round 4.
Yeah, and yeah, well, that's really. I don't know what you can say for Outlaws at the moment. What kind of saving grace can we give to them? Is there anything? If you're Outlaws right now, what do you do? 4 rounds down on the second map, staring down the face of a 2-0.
Something crazy. Like, I don't know what it is. If they pick rear stage, big tower, that's what you've got to do. They need to do something completely different. They need to catch Athletico completely off guard here, and they're going for laundry room with pretty standard operators. Unless they do some sort of crazy setup, I personally don't think this is going to work out for them.
Yeah, well, they only have 2 rounds in order to make that happen, and at the moment it's just really not looking like it's going to happen. Derpa's flexed now onto a Blackbeard. Might be switching off that. Yeah, there you go, switching off that one. Casper also switching off the Bandit onto a Maestro. Bandit's not really doing a lot at this stage due to the Thatcher, and we do have finally the Ella coming out. So the Ella Legion smoke combo, even the Maestro, like these are all operators on the defense who have some kind of I wouldn't necessarily say plant denial, but just, you know, concussion, some disruption utility. So, you know, smoke does a lot of damage. Maestro can do similar. Legion as well stops players in their tracks who are trying to rush. Ella as well, and I think that the Ella Legion combo worked very effectively against what Todd has been doing round after round. He's got the Ying this time, not the Blitz, which is what we saw him play on the previous 2 downstairs attacks. However, you can do the exact same thing with the Ying and with the Blitz, and it's what we've seen from Fnatic over and over again. Todd has really taken a leaf out of their book. You go to the hallway hatches, throw your Candelas down. You could even drop from the front hatch and run to the hallway. You've got so much flexibility there, but look at all the drones mounting up around construction. This tells me that it's going to be a rush. Yeah.
Alright, I pray that Outlaws are prepared and ready for this, but 2 people on site, I'm not sure that's going to be the case, Dev.
Let's see, was the spawn, is it a con spawn? Yeah. Oh, Athletico have mercy on. Another drone's coming in just to be sure, and yeah, this is no, I think Athletico might be changing their minds. We'll see, but it looks like it will be a rear push. And well, if Outlaws are deciding to go for a roam now that they have the Ella, for example, I think it's just something that's not going to work so well against what Athletico are preparing.
Indeed, you can see Derpa here just setting up shop. He's just going to probably hold this angle for the next little bit. Hope that someone like Ella will get a little bit too aggressive and punish them for it.
Well, we've got rotates into Attic, and Silex just trying to make sure there's no one at the top of Attic. And, well, Athletico, I like the fact that they've got Derpa outside main lobby. It's just cutting off that rotate, and also making it so that the defenders aren't aware of where the push is.
Emo there, managing to take down Tins. This just doesn't, no matter what Outlaws are doing, it just doesn't seem to work for them, which is so unfortunate. They've still got 2 donuts on the team, which again, it's not all about kills, but it just sort of shows to the fact that nothing really seems to be working here for them, unfortunately.
And Bundy may want to go for this flank, but there's so much to prevent that from happening with Derpa still cutting off that rotation, and now Claymores as well. Silex going to be looking into going towards blue construction, where he can use his last remaining thermite charge to open up the construction walls, and Derpa still playing it. It's funny, this is the role of a lion these days. You sit on one side of the map, hold off a rotate, and every time your team says, alright, you know, click middle mouse button to give us wall hacks, you'll do that. Ethan, though, taking down Muesli, and Derpa on the flank watch, still successful. It's looking pretty rough at the moment for Outlaws.
It is looking pretty rough, isn't it, Devon? They're just being countered perfectly. Nothing, they don't even have really the chance to get in a gunfight. They just, by the time they try to fight, they're getting outgunned, outflashed, out-yinged, out-blitzed, whatever it is, they're losing it, and that's not what they want. Out go the Candela Mines. Casper here, and will be the first line of defense. He finds 1. Can he get 2? He finds 2. Maybe he's made this a possibility here. He's on about 5 points of health. Absolutely nothing here. He manages to
and Plant's gone down it's gone down on the other side. All of the Athletico players push from one side. Derpa cleans it up on Casper, and that's the half gone. Athletico taking it 5-0 so far with only 1 round left. If they continue their storming successes.
They only need to win one round here. Could you imagine, Dev, if Outlaws got 5 in a row?
Well, that would be fun. Do you really think this is that attacker-sided, or do you think that it's just that Athletico are playing so much better?
I think they're just playing so much better, in my opinion. They're just...
I mean...
Yeah, go.
If we look back to the bans, like... a Hibana ban is meant to really make it defender-sided. And a Jackal ban, we've got the Caviera coming. I feel like that's going to be a 6th pick. But the Jackal ban also means the roamers have a lot more flexibility. So it should really be stilted towards the defenders. And on the flip side, The defenders, having lost Echo, they still have a lot of other forms of plant denial, and losing the Vigil, they still have a lot of forms of roaming as well available to them. So I feel like this shouldn't be as attacker-sided as the score is reflecting. And Todd is going to jump off the Cav for the Jaeger, I think that's a good move. And Tins is going... Oh, he's playing the Frost. I like it. That's... Oh, no. You're teasing me, Todd. Come on, give me a break.
I would have liked to see that Cav. The mind games would have been good because you pick it in the main reveal phase, and then they go, oh, they're gonna 6-pick it. What if you don't 6-pick it?
Yeah.
Then
well,
that's the mind games 200 IQ.
But I mean, a Cav on Oregon. Of all maps, Oregon and Border, like 2 of the maps where I just feel like Cav's not really gonna happen.
I mean, at this stage, anything's possible.
Oh, anything can happen for Athletico. Yeah, definitely. Nonetheless, we've got the Blitz coming out for the attack once again. Tins said, oh, well, Todd's really been making us look pretty bad. Maybe we should, get some of that very, very powerful utility, that very, very powerful pushing power, and use it for our own. Immerin on the Valkyrie is going to try and get some cameras outside. Doesn't get detected as well. Great job. But Casper, if he's looking in the right spot with that electronic scanner from the IQ, will be able to find out these outside cameras.
Indeed, and I wonder if that's what he's going to be doing. He's on that side of the map here to where he could utilize that, but I would be surprised if he didn't even check, to be honest. Like, no offense, but checking outside for that sort of stuff, although it's very brutal, I feel like it's going to sort of get overlooked, as that's got to be one of the last things on their mind here. They need to really figure out what's and what they need.
Staring down match point, yeah, for sure. Staring down match point, you're not thinking about, meticulously going through every step, checking for outside cameras, etc., etc. You're really on the ropes, and it's rough. And look, I mean, outside a big window was Casper just a few moments ago, and not even having cleared out small tower. Emorin finds the first kill, no doubt using those cameras for information. Silex finds one as well onto Tins. That's both the Zafir and the Blitz gone down, and well, despite Outlaws having somewhat control of armory and surrounding areas, they still are really getting punished.
Absolutely, we can see Emo and Ethan going below for that roam. Thermite will breach on into Master, but with 3 players alive, it's not sure how much faith I've got in them at this stage, to be honest. Casper as well outside a big window is just going to be pressuring, doing what he can. Ethan's backed off of small tower, so there isn't an imminent threat of him being pushed from behind just yet. You can see there, Silex below trying to create some shoddy holes. Todd will take down Moosley, and I do not see any hope here for Outlaws. I think that Athletico will be our victors here, Dave.
2 players left, though, Joker and Casper. Well, Casper has been the man to show up. The man of the hour. If anyone's going to show up when his team needs it, it's got to be him. The sub, everyone loves saying super sub, but, I'm going to refrain. But no, never mind. Ethan just takes off his head nice and clean. The defenders know completely well where Joker is. He's got 50 seconds, and with this hollow sight on the 5.56, he's just going to sit around. Imorin lurking downstairs with the Deagle. We could even see a C4 come out. Now, I don't know. There's so much trouble now for Joker. If he pulls it back now, he'd be really... This would be something to tell your kids about,
Indeed, we can see him here starting to make his way towards lobby. You don't really have time. Again, he's not necessarily clearing classroom very, very sturdily, but he's just got to sort of run at this stage. He's got 20 seconds and 5 to find a bomb to possibly plant. Like, you can't sit here holding this angle. Emo's just going to run out. He's being doom-eyed. Surely Silex is aware. Silex will take him down, and Athletico will be moving to the semi-finals.
And, well, that's that. Atletico really made that quite... They made that quite swift. The first map went, well, 6-3. It looked like it was anyone's game at some points. Atletico looked like the better team, but here on Oregon, it's no rerun of the Pro League match where it went 6-4 just this last week past. This time it was all Atletico, Atletico, Atletico.
Indeed, Athletico never seemed to slow down there, winning out the series.